What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's military has finished its annual Skyhorse shooting drill, which uses U.S.-made missiles to hit coastal targets. It's part of the country's efforts to defend its shores, but as Jaime Okan reports, it might not be a realistic strategy.
Taiwan's troops get some practice firing advanced weapons. The military is wrapping up 2 days of coastal defense drills using brand new U.S. TOW missile launchers to train for nighttime and daytime conditions. It's a first for every soldier here, and this exercise is a chance to improve their marksmanship.
各位弟兄都非常期待今年的实弹射击。那在部队作战训练的时候，也会争取时间，不断的操作新装所配发的模拟器，持续的适应及训练熟悉新装所带来的差异性。
Taiwan has been trying to conduct more realistic training to counter the threat of invasion from China. This includes giving soldiers more freedom to react on the battlefield and using more live ammunition. The goal of this drill is to practice destroying incoming Chinese ships and troop carriers. But analysts in Taiwan say it's far from realistic.
这是一个射击的演习，真正在 war time 的时候不会这样子在海边就是排开，它会在躲在树林后面攻击，不会把自己暴露出来。
This type of one-dimensional training is a source of concern here in Taiwan and in the U.S., Taiwan's largest weapons provider. U.S. analysts say that while Taiwan may be getting used to the weapons it has, it's not getting used to strategies for using them.
You really don't want the first time these service personnel are actually moving, stopping, shooting, and going back into hiding to be under combat conditions. You want them to have practiced that because naturally when they're under pressure, they're just going to default to what they practiced. If they only ever practice just sitting static on a beach, that's how they're going to do it.
One solution could be to increase the amount of practice troops get on wartime scenarios. That means simulating fighting from multiple positions, in addition to routine training like this one here. But in order to do that, analysts say Taiwan needs to buy more weapons.
I think Taiwan needs massive stockpiles of these things, certainly much larger than the one it's building. And the other thing about, more is better is like, if you have more stuff on hand, you can expend more in training, right? Like you can do that kind of stuff. And so it's having just that, the mass of these systems is going to be important.
Taiwan already has some 2,700 TOW missiles, and a recent purchase of 1,700 more is a step in the right direction. But officials here declined to give an update on the status of those weapons. Many U.S. weapons purchases are currently delayed. With Taiwan set to have more than 4,000 TOW missiles in its arsenal by the end of this year, it's yet to be seen whether the military will actually change the way it conducts its training and adapt to the threats it faces now across the Taiwan Strait. Joseph Wu and Jaime Okan in Pingdong County for TaiwanPlus.
President Lai Ching-te has been in office for 100 days. His term has seen tensions with China rise and political infighting in the legislature. Louise Watt takes a look at some of the notable events during his time in office so far.
President Lai Ching-te came to power in May. In his inauguration speech, he called on China to stop politically and militarily intimidating Taiwan. But 3 days later, China launched large-scale military drills simulating a full-blown attack on Taiwan. Lai also had to quickly get to grips with strife on the domestic front when lawmakers from the opposition passed reforms increasing oversight of the government. Lai and his party are still challenging those reforms in the Constitutional Court. In July, Taiwan was hit by a deadly typhoon that caused flooding in areas in the south of the country. And then in August, Lai went to Jinmen off the Chinese coast, and he went to mark the 66th anniversary of a conflict between Taiwan and China. While there, he said that Taiwan must carry on the spirit of the soldiers who fought against China. Earlier, I spoke to an analyst who follows Taiwanese politics, and I started off by asking what stood out for him during Lai's first 100 days as president.
One is he's kind of restored the way that power is structured within both the DPP and within government. But what I mean by this is that he has heavily favored people from within his New Tide faction and people that he previously worked with in government before us. Now, this is in sharp contrast to Tsai Ing-wen. Because after the Chen presidency, where the factions were brutally battling it out in the press, what she did is she put in a power-sharing formula between the different factions so that each faction would know what percentage of plum positions within the party and within government they would be getting. So again, we're starting to see the return of factional politics. But what this has also done is this has meant that Lai has consolidated power far more strictly and around him and his people.
Since Lai came to power, China has carried out large-scale military drills around Taiwan, and it's also been increasing its Coast Guard patrols in waters around Jinmen. How do you think Lai has dealt with the cross-strait challenges he's faced?
I think he's slightly more plain-spoken or blunt than Tsai was, but even then he's still being fairly diplomatic and basically is following the same line as Tsai Ing-wen did. This is the Republic of China, Taiwan, and that Taiwan does not need to declare independence because the Republic of China, Taiwan, is already an independent country. Well, Lai sold himself, when it comes to cross-strait relations, as continuing Tsai Ing-wen's pattern, and that's basically what he's done. So he's lived up to not only what he campaigned on, but also, I think, the expectations that people had of him. Now, there were some people who were afraid that he was going to be far more radical than Tsai, but that has not panned out.
That was Courtney Donovan-Smith, a political analyst based in Taichung. Animal protection groups in Taiwan are calling for a ban on traps used to catch wild boars. Activists gathered outside the forestry agency on Tuesday to protest the practice.
农隼就应该要隔离跟驱避，不应该是猎杀动物。有很多更文明的方式可以防治农隼，他声称没有替代的方案，这是错误的。
The groups argue the traps are harmful to other animals. Over the past 5 years, more than 15 Formosan black bears have gotten stuck in the traps. But indigenous people have hunted wild boars for generations, and government officials say it's important to respect their way of life. Officials say they will talk to both sides to find ways to improve hunting techniques.
在资源平衡的情况下，我们必须得跟山村的居民和原住民的朋友来做一个合作。那如果单纯的由团体方他们一味的单纯的禁止的情况下，那会让我们过去的信任会毁于一旦。
The Michelin Guide has revealed its annual list of star-rated restaurants in Taiwan. 49 restaurants across Taipei, Taichung, and Kaohsiung were awarded a 1, 2, or 3-star rating this year, up from 44 in 2023. Many eyes were on Tainan in Taiwan's south, but none of the historic city's eateries made the list. The Michelin Guide recognizes culinary excellence in cities around the world. The star rating is coveted in the fine dining industry. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at how people try to stay cool in the scorching heat at the Minnesota State Fair. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories from here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and around the world, make sure to visit us on social media.